black nanny walked into her new employer's house and saw her daughter's photo in a frame. She collapsed to her knees in tears. What happened next would reunite a family torn apart by a corrupt system and prove that love always finds a way home. Tiana Jackson stepped through the crystal doors of the Williams estate, her worn shoes squeaking against marble floors. At 28, she'd worked for wealthy families across Atlanta, but nothing prepared her for this luxury. Still, she needed this job desperately. For an entire year, she'd been searching for something more precious than any mansion, her lost daughter. Mr. Williams is very particular about his daughter's care, the estate manager explained as they walked through rooms bigger than city blocks. Isabella is 8, incredibly bright, and she's been through difficult transitions. 3 years ago, Tiana's life had been simple but complete. She worked as a hotel housekeeper and spent every moment with her precious 5-year-old daughter Amara. They weren't rich, but they were happy. Everything shattered on a Thursday afternoon when police arrested Tiana at work. "You're under arrest for possession with intent to distribute," the officer said, holding up cocaine allegedly found in her work locker. "That's not mine," she screamed as they handcuffed her. "I don't use drugs. I have a daughter at home." But Tiana was a young black single mother with no money for a real lawyer. The evidence was planted, witnesses paid off, but the system had decided her guilt. Her court-appointed attorney barely looked at her case. 2 years state prison, the judge declared, ignoring Tiana's desperate pleas about her daughter. What Tiana didn't know was that while she sat in jail, 5-year-old Amara had been left alone for 2 days, surviving on crackers and water, crying for her mama who never came home. When social services found Amara, she was dehydrated and terrified, clutching a stuffed rabbit. But there was no record connecting the abandoned child to the woman arrested across town. The apartment was in her boyfriend's name, a man who'd vanished when police appeared. Amara entered foster care as baby girl Doe, a child with no known family, no history, no mother searching because no one knew where to look. Prison was torture, but worse was not knowing what happened to her baby. Tiana's desperate letters went unanswered. Her calls were transferred endlessly. No one could tell her about Amara Jackson because officially, that child didn't exist. When released after 2 years, Tiana found their apartment empty. For a year, she'd searched every foster home, every agency, carrying Amara's photo everywhere. She worked as a nanny because being around children dulled the constant ache where her heart used to be. Now, following James Williams up his grand staircase, Tiana tried to focus as the 48-year-old tech mogul explained her duties. "Isabella came through adoption 2 years ago," James said warmly. "She's finally feeling secure after some trauma. She loves art. I have her paintings displayed throughout the house." They reached the second floor hallway lined with children's artwork in expensive frames. "She's incredibly talented," James continued proudly. That's when Tiana saw it. In the center display, hanging in an ornate silver frame, was a school photograph of a little girl with intelligent brown eyes and neat braids. The child wore purple and smiled confidently at the camera. Tiana stopped walking. Her breath caught as she stared at the image, her mind struggling to process what she was seeing. The face was older than she remembered, but there was no mistaking those eyes, that smile, the small birthmark above the left eyebrow shaped exactly like a tiny star. "That's Isabella," James said proudly. "This year's school picture. Isn't she beautiful?" Tiana's hands shook uncontrollably. Her knees buckled as impossible truth crashed over her. Isabella was Amara. Her daughter, lost in a system that failed them both, was living in this mansion, being raised by a man who had no idea he just hired her biological mother. If you're enjoying this story, kindly do us a favor and subscribe to our channel. It is free and won't cost anything, but it means the world to us. We are just a small channel trying to grow. And do not forget to comment where you're watching from. Thank you, and back to our video. "Are you all right?" James asked, alarmed. Tiana couldn't speak, couldn't breathe, could only stare at her lost child's photograph. A car door slammed outside. "That's Isabella coming home from school," James said. Tiana's legs gave out. She collapsed to her knees, tears streaming as she heard voices downstairs. Her daughter's voice, laughing with the driver. Tiana! James knelt beside her. What's wrong? That's my baby, Tiana whispered. That's my daughter. Before James could respond, footsteps bounded upstairs, and she appeared. Amara, Isabella, stood at the top of the staircase, exactly like the photograph but more radiant in person. Tall, graceful, healthy, her face glowing with confidence of a loved child. Daddy, I'm home, she called cheerfully, then noticed the crying woman. Who's this? Tiana looked up at her daughter, beautiful, happy, staring with polite confusion instead of recognition. This is Tiana, James said carefully. Your new nanny. Hi, Isabella said sweetly, kneeling to Tiana's level. Are you okay? You look sad. Tiana's heart shattered and mended simultaneously. Her daughter didn't recognize her. 3 years was a lifetime at 5 years old. I'm okay, sweetheart, Tiana whispered, drinking in every detail. Just overwhelmed by how beautiful you are. Isabella beamed. Thank you. Do you like art? I made something special today. As Isabella skipped to her room, chattering about her day, Tiana remained on her knees, overwhelmed by miracle and agony of finding her child in the most impossible place. James helped her up, his face pale with shock. What did you mean when you said that's your daughter? Tiana looked at him through tears, knowing what she'd say would change everything. 3 years ago, I was wrongfully convicted and sent to prison. While locked up, my 5-year-old daughter disappeared into foster care. I've been searching ever since. Her voice broke. Her name was Amara Jackson. Isabella is my baby, Mr. Williams. James's face went white as impossible truth sank in. Down the hall, completely unaware her world was changing, Isabella hummed while unpacking art supplies, having no idea the crying nanny was the mama she'd been told would never come back. The silence stretched between them like a chasm. James stared at Tiana, cycling through disbelief and dawning horror. That's impossible, he whispered. Isabella's file said her birth mother was incarcerated and had abandoned parental rights. I never abandoned anything, Tiana said, wiping tears. I spent 2 years in prison for crimes I didn't commit. When I got out, my daughter had vanished. From down the hall, Mr. Bunny, look what I painted today. It's a butterfly garden, just like in my dreams. The innocent chatter made James's composure crack. This can't be happening. We went through proper channels. The agency assured me everything was legal. What did they tell you about her background? James ran his hands through his hair. They said she'd been found abandoned, placed in emergency foster care, multiple failed placements. They called her hard to place because of trauma. She was 5 years old, separated from her mother. Of course she had trauma. The social worker said her birth mother showed no interest in maintaining contact during incarceration. I wrote letters every week, Tiana said, voice shaking with rage. Called constantly, begged to talk to her. But no one told me where she was. Daddy, Isabella's voice called. Can you see my new painting? And can the nanny come too? They froze, realizing they were discussing a child's world while she played innocently yards away. We need privacy, James said quietly. In his study, Tiana paced while James tried to process everything. I love my daughter more than life, she began. But I can't ignore that she's happy and thriving. You've given her everything I dreamed of providing. What are you asking me to do? I don't know. I found her 3 hours ago. I just know my baby is alive and being loved by someone who thought he was saving her. James studied her face. Tell me about Amara. What was she like? Tiana's expression softened. Pure sunshine, always singing, asking questions. She loved purple and butterflies. Had a stuffed rabbit named Mr. Bunny. James's eyes widened. She still has him. Said her foster family let her keep one special toy. She's had him this whole time, Tiana whispered. She still loves purple. Her room is decorated in purple shades. And she draws butterflies constantly. I never understood why. I painted butterflies on her bedroom walls. She said they were magic because they could fly anywhere. James retrieved a thick folder. This is Isabella's adoption file. You should see what I was told. Tiana opened it, finding reports describing baby girl Doe, found abandoned with no identification, no family, no history. Birth mother listed as unknown, presumed deceased or incarcerated. They erased me completely, Tiana said hollowly. Made it so there was no connection, no way to reunite us. The adoption fee was $95,000. They said it was high due to trauma and legal complexity of unknown parentage. They profited from stealing my child. We were both victims. Daddy. Isabella appeared with a wooden box decorated with painted butterflies. I want to show Tiana my memory box from art therapy. She opened it, revealing Mr. Bunny worn but treasured, along with a purple ribbon and a child's drawing of two stick figures under a rainbow. This is me and my first mama, Isabella explained. I drew it when I was still sad about missing her. Tiana's breath caught looking at the crude but unmistakable drawing. Mrs. Patterson said my first mama became an angel because she couldn't take care of me. But I think angels send butterflies to show they still love you. Tiana had been told her daughter was dead, that abandoning her was love rather than crime. Do you want to hold Mr. Bunny? Isabella offered. He makes sad people feel better. Tiana accepted the rabbit with shaking hands, remembering buying him for Amara's 3rd birthday. He still smelled faintly of her old fabric softener. After Isabella returned to her room, James turned to Tiana with tears. She's been grieving you for 3 years. She thinks you're dead. And she's been loved and protected. You gave her everything a child needs to heal. But not her real mother. They sat in heavy silence. Finally, James spoke. I want to do right by Isabella and you. But what does right look like? Tiana thought carefully. I want my daughter back. But ripping her from the only father she's known would destroy her. She loves you. Her face lights up when she talks about you. So what are you proposing? I don't know yet, but we need to tell her the truth eventually. She deserves to know her mama didn't abandon her, that I searched every single day. James nodded. And we need the truth about how this happened. If you were framed, if Isabella was stolen through fraud, someone needs accountability. You'd help investigate, even knowing it might complicate your legal claim. Isabella is my daughter in every way that matters. But you're her mother. If criminals separated you, they need to face justice. Neither noticed Isabella in the hallway, holding Mr. Bunny, trying to understand why her new nanny looked like the angel mama from her dreams, and why both adults seemed sad discussing first mamas and adoption papers. Something important was happening. But for the first time since foster care, Isabella felt like the butterflies in her dreams were telling her something wonderful was coming. 3 weeks later, the truth was more shocking than imagined. James's investigators uncovered a systematic fraud scheme destroying hundreds of families while generating millions in illegal profits. Your daughter wasn't lost. She was intentionally separated as part of organized fraud, the investigator explained. They specialized in creating adoptable children from broken families. The police unit that arrested Tiana was later disbanded for evidence tampering and taking bribes. Social workers had falsified documents to make children appear orphaned. They charged higher fees claiming children needed rescuing from dangerous situations, the investigator continued. Isabella wasn't hard to place. She was beautiful and healthy, but they got nearly $100,000 claiming she was traumatized and parentless. You were both victims. Ms. Jackson never legally surrendered parental rights. The documents are completely fraudulent. Before legal action, they faced telling Isabella the truth. They chose the garden where she felt peaceful. Isabella sat between them as James began. Sweetheart, we discovered something wonderful about your first mama. She didn't become an angel. She's been looking for you this whole time. Where is she? Isabella asked, confused. Tiana's heart pounded. Isabella, I'm your first mama. When you were little, you called me mama. Isabella stared. Then something shifted, recognition of feeling, not face. You feel familiar, like someone from my dreams. Do you remember being 5? Butterfly pancakes on Sunday mornings. Isabella's eyes widened. And the mockingbird song. Hush, little baby. Don't say a word. Mama's gonna buy you a mockingbird, Tiana sang. Isabella launched into Tiana's arms, sobbing. Mama, I thought you were gone forever. I never stopped wanting you. Not for 1 second. James watched through tears. Isabella pulled back, then turned to him with worry. What about Daddy? I love him too. We're going to be a family together, Tiana said. All three of us. Over following months, they created something unprecedented. A family bound by love rather than law. Isabella split time between Tiana's apartment and James's estate, never choosing between parents. The legal battle exposed the adoption fraud, leading to 43 arrests. Tiana became a movement leader for separated families while James funded legal aid organizations. A year later, a judge restored Tiana's parental rights while maintaining James's guardianship, a unique arrangement prioritizing Isabella's emotional needs. This case represents both the worst and best of our system, the judge said. Criminal conspiracy that separated this family, and love that brought them back together. 6 months later, the Isabella Jackson Williams Foundation opened, providing investigative services to families separated by fraud. Their first success reunited a father with twin boys lost to similar schemes. On Isabella's 10th birthday, they celebrated with their extended chosen family, Tiana's sister, James's colleagues, and 5 other families they'd helped reunite. Make a wish, Tiana said as Isabella prepared to blow out candles. I don't need to, Isabella replied, looking around. I already have everything I could wish for. That night, tucking Isabella into bed, she looked up at both parents with sleepy contentment. Mama, will you sing the mockingbird song? Always, baby girl. As Tiana sang the lullaby she'd been forced to stop 3 years earlier, James marveled at how love found a way to heal wounds that should have been permanent. Isabella fell asleep holding both their hands, secure that she was loved by 2 parents who'd fought for her differently, and no system could separate their family again. Every Sunday, Tiana still made butterfly pancakes, shared around a table big enough for everyone who chose to love her daughter. Their story proved families are built on choice rather than biology. Love is stronger than legal documents, and sometimes the most beautiful endings come from heartbreaking beginnings. In Isabella's room, Mr. Bunny sat beside a new photo, 3 people holding hands under a rainbow, with "My Forever Family" written in purple crayon underneath. If you enjoyed our story, hit the subscribe button for more inspiring stories and don't forget to like and share.